Hey y'all, welcome to the channel or welcome back. In this video, I'll be discussing altitude sickness. So experiencing altitude sickness while traveling in South America. This is not medical advice. I am not a doctor, not a healthcare professional. This is just me talking about my experience so that I can share these things so it can help you better prepare for your trip. In this video, I'll provide you with some practical tips on how to adjust to the new environment that you're traveling to, as well as some ways to ensure that you don't have to ruin your trip all because of altitude sickness. I experienced the worst altitude sickness in Cusco. If you've been following my solo traveling journey here on the Sweet Chariot Travel channel, you would know I've been to Mexico City, I've been to Quito, Ecuador, and I also hiked the Cotopaxi volcano as well. So by the time I got to Cusco, I thought I would have been fine. However, I was not, and it hit me hard. The first night, I remember waking up around 2 in the morning, and I went to the restroom. My face was swollen. My eyes were swollen and my lips had like a purple shade to it. I had never experienced that before. So unfortunately, I had to cancel my trip to Machu Picchu to allow my body to fully acclimatize to the new environment. Altitude sickness can occur when your body ascends to high altitudes too quickly and your body does not have enough time to quickly adjust to reduce oxygen levels. It's very essential to be aware of the symptoms before you arrive in the city that you're traveling to. So the symptoms may include headaches, dizziness, nausea, fatigue, and shortness of breath. Not everyone is affected by the change in altitude the same way, so my first tip is to set aside the first day or two to check in with yourself and see if you're noticing any of these symptoms. Allow your body time to adjust to the low oxygen levels, which means it's best to avoid strenuous activities or tours. Tip number 2 is stay hydrated. Not just with water, I would pack those hydration electrolyte packets, the powder packets. Just pack those with you, especially if you are going hiking. Those always come in handy. Proper hydration can alleviate symptoms and assist in acclimatization. So drink water and avoid excessive alcohol and caffeine consumption because that can dehydrate you. Tip number 3 is be open to natural remedies from the locals. Coca leaf and munya tea is what helps me with my altitude sickness symptoms. You can buy coca leaves and dried munya at the market. You can also chew coca leaves, which is what I did to hike Rainbow Mountain. Our tour guide also gave us some Florida water to breathe into our nose to alleviate the symptoms. Ginger tea also helps me with nausea and my digestive system because it was just very difficult for me to eat sometimes. Tip number 4 is eat small, high-carb meals throughout the day. Okay, so small high carb meals throughout the day. So when you go to a restaurant, eat half of what they give you, especially in Peru. In Peru and Bolivia, like, they were very heavy-handed with the food. Very heavy-handed. Like, I'm like, I should be used to this because I'm an American, but I was absolutely like stuffed. And in the moment of me eating the food, I felt good, like it tastes good, but afterwards I felt so bad. I know I ended up getting indigestion in La Paz, Bolivia, but yeah, it was very, very difficult for me because when you're at such a high altitude, it's difficult for your digestive system to break down those foods, and it just works overtime because you're already not receiving the oxygen that you need to, keep your body moving, but to also have like, all this on your digestive system. It could be a lot. I noticed in South America that they love potatoes. They have thousands of different potatoes, and it's because of the fact that, it is a carbohydrate that helps them sustain their energy and it helps them get through the day and be able to function in those high altitudes. But they're already used to it. But it is something to be mindful of, like, hey, they're consuming these potatoes, thousands of different potatoes, so let me also consume these potatoes so that I can adapt to this environment. If you cannot eat meals that are small and high in carbohydrates, then the next best thing is a soup. Chicken soup is my go-to soup while I'm traveling, so just go for a chicken soup and then slowly work up to high carb meals. If all else fails, just take some medication, which is tip number 5, because I'm all for natural remedies and kind of waiting things out and let my body, you know, do what it's supposed to do. However, I didn't notice a drastic change until I took a pill called Serochi altitude sickness pill. I still have that. Hold on, let me go get it. I still have these pills with me because I never know when I'm gonna need it. So I have more than this. And while I was in Cusco and while I was traveling in South America, I only took those pills 3 different times. The rest of the time, I was just drinking coca leaf tea and munya tea, just resting, that type of thing. But I really wasn't taking these pills like every day, only when I needed to take these pills. Over-the-counter medication like ibuprofen and aspirin is also a good thing to pack with you as well, just in case you're experiencing headaches. And then once you get to the city that you're traveling to, you can then get a altitude sickness pill similar to this or like this. I don't know how to pronounce the name. I think it's Serochi. And I'm not telling you guys to get this. This is just what I took because I am not a healthcare professional, all right? Which is my next tip. Tip number 6, if you do have pre-existing medical conditions, make a plan with your doctor before your trip. And also get a prescription for altitude sickness medication before your trip, just in case you do get altitude sickness. Or ask your doctor to write out a list of what medications he would recommend, just in case you need altitude sickness medication once you get to the city that you're traveling to. Because there are different types of altitude sickness medication that you can take, so it's best to talk to your doctor so your doctor can pick out which one is best for you. Tip number 7, let someone know at the hostel or hotel that you're in if you're experiencing altitude sickness symptoms. And it can be mild. You could just say, you could talk to the receptionist and say, hey, I'm having like a little headache, or hey, I'm feeling nauseous, I'm about to go lay down. That way somebody at least knows, like, in your area knows that you're not feeling well. Since I've been traveling solo, I'm just so used to resolving things on my own, like resolving whatever issues I have on my own. So that night it was morning when I woke up and my face was swollen, my eyes were swollen. The only thing I did was take some ibuprofen and some vitamin C and I went back to bed. I Googled what to do for altitude sickness, and yeah, I took some ibuprofen and vitamin C and I lay back in the bed. I didn't go back to sleep, but I just lay back down. So later on that day, I was casually talking to the receptionist and I was telling her like I wasn't really feeling that well. She was like, oh, well, we have an oxygen tank. And I'm just like, when I woke up early in the morning, it would have been nice for me to have the oxygen tank because I really needed it. At that time, my lips was like a shade of purple. So at least ask where the oxygen tank is so that you'll know, okay, well, they don't have an oxygen tank in this hostel, but they do have it, I don't know, down the street at this restaurant. Sometimes it's like that. So the last tip number 8, is consider purchasing travel insurance, especially if you are planning to go to a city that is high in altitude and you have some pre-existing medical conditions. Or if you plan on hiking the summit of a mountain, consider purchasing travel insurance just so that you know if anything happens, medically you're covered. So you're insured just in case something happens. Alright, so that is the end of this video. Remember that altitude sickness can affect anyone and it does not depend on your age or your fitness level, and its severity can vary from person to person. So that's why it's important for you to tell people if you're not feeling well. Don't be like me and just go get back in the bed. Don't do that. Learn from my mistakes, y'all. Learn from my mistakes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this video has helped you, and if it has, make sure you like and share the video, subscribe to the channel if you're interested in solo traveling, or if you would like to follow my solo traveling journey. My next videos are going to be about Bolivia. So I'm going to wrap up Cusco, like share my overall experience in Cusco, and then I'll start showing my vlogs for Bolivia, which was a roller coaster, alright? It was a roller coaster, but I had fun. Anyway, that is the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, bye. Bye-bye.